Dear students, today we'll see VI characteristics of semiconductor diode. So VI means voltage current characteristics of semiconductor diode. Now to see this, there are two ways. One is forward bias and one is reverse bias. So if you see the first one, what is forward bias? Forward bias. You can see the circuit for that. You can have a diode, and you can have a milliammeter in series with a diode. You can have a resistance. You can have a applied voltage. Applied voltage is applied such that the positive should be connected to the anode of the diode and the negative should be connected to the cathode of the diode. So this is the cathode of the diode. Okay, so this is your input voltage Vin, and here you can take voltage across diode. Okay, this is your resistor R. Now if you connect the diode in this way, where the anode of the diode is connected to the positive terminal and cathode of the diode is connected to the negative terminal of the voltage applied battery, then it is called as forward bias connection. Now here, if you plot a graph of the voltage across the diode and the current flowing in the circuit through the diode, then it will be called as VI characteristics in forward bias. So if you see the graph, it will be in the first quadrant. It will be in the first quadrant. Okay. So this will be your current in milliamperes and this will be voltage. This will be voltage. Okay. Now voltage will be varied in 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8 in those steps, and current you will be having as say 5 milliampere, 10 milliampere, 15 milliampere, 20 milliampere, 25 milliampere, like that. Okay. Now the voltage whatever you are going to apply should be varied in 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 steps, and then you have to note down the voltage across the diode and the current flowing through the diode. Why we have to vary this voltage in 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4? Because every diode, whether it is made up of germanium or silicon, it will have its own potential barrier. For germanium it is 0.3 volt and for silicon it is 0.7 volt. Now if you want to forward bias the diode, first you have to overcome that potential. Say example, if you speak about germanium, you have to overcome 0.3 volt. So you increase this voltage as 0.1, note down this voltage and current, plot the graph. Increase it as 0.2, note down this voltage and current, plot the graph. Increase it at 0.3, note down this voltage across and current and see. In that case what you will see is when the voltage across the diode reaches till 0.3, in case of germanium diode, there is no current flowing through this ammeter. And after you cross this 0.3, you can see a rise in the current. You can see the rise in the current. Now this part where you bend like a knee, it is called as knee voltage. Knee voltage. And this is forward bias. This is your forward current which is going now. This is forward bias. Forward bias. This is forward current which is rising for a little increase in voltage after that. Till the barrier potential was overcome. Barrier potential was overcome. It was showing very less current, a small current. But as you cross the barrier potential, little increase in voltage also will give a rapid increase in the forward current. Now this is your forward bias characteristics of a semiconductor diode. So in this basically what you're going to do, you're going to connect the diode in this way where the anode of the diode is connected to the positive of the battery, cathode of the diode is connected to the negative of the battery. You're going to put a voltmeter across the diode so that you can measure that voltage and plot it here as the x-axis. And you're going to put an ammeter in series with the diode so you can measure that current and put on the y-axis. And with those readings of voltage and current, you can go on plotting the graph. A graph will show you that till you overcome the barrier potential, the current magnitude is very low. But after you cross the barrier potential, for little rise in voltage also, there is a large current flowing, which is called as a forward current. Now in that case, resistance provided by the diode will be very less. So this is your forward bias characteristics of semiconductor diode. Next students, we will see what do we mean by reverse bias of a semiconductor diode. So next we will see what is reverse bias. Reverse bias. Now in this, if you see the circuit, if you are having a diode should be connected, the negative of the diode, that is the bar, should be connected to the positive of the battery. Okay, and then you can have a microampere here, you can have a resistance here, and you can have a voltmeter here. So this is your diode, this is your cathode, and this is your anode. This is plus minus, this is the input voltage. Okay, now if you see the battery over here, positive of the battery, it is connected to the negative terminal of the diode, that is cathode, and negative of the battery is connected to the positive terminal of the diode, which is anode. Okay, if you have this configuration, then it is called as a reverse bias condition. Now if you draw a graph for this, the graph will come in the third quadrant because you have negative voltage and negative current. So you have to draw the graph in the third quadrant. This will be the quadrant, and this will be your voltage, and this will be your current in microampere. So you can take current as 100 microampere, start from 0, 200 microampere, 300 microampere, 400 microampere, 500 microampere. You can see voltage as 5 volt, 10 volt, 15 volt, 20 volt, like that. Okay. Now, when you apply this kind of voltage to a diode, we know that in a reverse bias condition, the PN junction had a wide depletion layer. So there will be a wide depletion layer, and majority charge carriers cannot contribute to the current to flow. Then this type of voltage configuration will play a role in case of minority charge carriers. Now we know that minority charge carriers are the carriers which are produced because of temperature. They are thermally generated carriers. They are not produced because of doping. Okay? Because of doping you get majority carriers, but minority carriers are produced because of thermal energy. They are thermally generated carriers, but they will be less in number. For those less in number charge carriers, minority charge carriers, this configuration will be like forward bias, and they start crossovering. The carriers start crossovering. So initially there will be a small current because of minority charge carriers. Small current will be there. As you increase this applied voltage, the kinetic energy of the charge carrier will increase, and they hit each other. The electrons hit each other. Once they hit each other, there will be many charge carriers produced. So that can happen at certain larger voltage, say 15 or 20 volt, that can happen. And that kinetic energy, when one charge carrier hits another charge carrier, there will be multiplication of charge carriers. And that multiplication of charge carriers will give a rise in a breakdown. Suddenly the reverse current will go on increasing at a certain voltage. At a certain voltage, suddenly the breakdown will take place and the reverse current goes on increasing. This is reverse current which is increasing. This is reverse current which is increasing rapidly. If it increases more, then it can damage the diode also. It depends on the capability of the diode. But as you increase the reverse voltage, at certain stage, a reverse breakdown takes place. This is called as reverse breakdown. Reverse breakdown. And this current is due to minority charge carriers. And the minority charge carrier number will suddenly increase because as you increase the voltage, the kinetic energy of the charge carriers will increase and they bounce out, they knock out each other, and therefore the number of minority charge carriers will increase. And as it increases, there will be a sudden rise in the current. And that rise in the current will be called as reverse breakdown. It happens at a voltage, say a reverse breakdown voltage. Reverse breakdown voltage. And this is an important area of your reverse bias. But if you go above that, if you increase more voltage, then it can also damage your diode. So it depends upon your reverse handling capability, peak inverse voltage. Okay. So this is what we see in reverse bias condition of a semiconductor, a diode, and this is your VI characteristics in reverse bias condition.